Good morning guys, I'm Chris and welcome back to this Sunday's episode of Rift Amps. Had a bit of a failure on the CompuBias. This probe itself stopped working. It was failing to pass any heater voltage and current through to the valve, so that whichever valve was plugged into this, it wouldn't always light up, and then obviously that causes problems. I've taken this thing apart, and you do that by unsoldering the blob from each, and then you can pull this thing out. And I found a broken connection inside, but whilst I'm in here, I'm reflowing all of the joints and putting new connection wire in. You can kind of see how that works. If I zoom you down a little bit, you can see you've got your terminals on the inside, and they pass through in the middle through out here, and then once this is closed up fully, you can solder it all into place and that will keep it closed, which is great, but it's not quite working. You can see the 3 resistors inside used to measure the various bits and pieces, which is quite cool, quite interesting. So I'm just going through and adding the right wires in the right place, and it's proving to be quite a fun after work job. So we'll come through and we'll do this one next. So feed the wire up through there into the correct terminal up here. The original ones were J-hooked in place, but I'm not going to do that on this particular repair, just in case I have to take this thing apart again. It's going to make it slightly easier to make corrections. So we're getting there with that one. And I'm just going to leave this side slightly longer. And that allows me, once it's closed, to get everything exactly where I want them to be. But I'm really enjoying this. You can't buy these things anymore, so it's important that I learn how to maintain it. Do you remember I fixed the socket on the measuring unit itself? But we're getting there slowly. Just feed all those through. Just like that. Gonna need some more. All I've done is taken some of my standard cloth wire, stripped it back, and then pulled it all out like that. That's all I'm using. So I've got 1, 2, 3 more to go. And we'll be done. Have just fired up and doing the burning on this Ainsley Lister signature. This is the one that's going off to America. And and this has got the new reverb transformers in. Really pleased with the way they're working in the sound. They are absolutely spot on. Very, very pleased with that. So it's all wired up, all working, all burning in. The numbers are great. It's currently doing 17.2 volts into 8 ohms, which will put us, if we call it 17, that puts us at 36 watts. Sorry, there you are. So it's running in nicely. So that's going to have a good number of hours. Ainsley is due to sign this one off on Friday, Halloween. So it's going to get, today's Thursday, so we're going to give it a good old run in. Got my bias numbers bang on. I know it's running at the moment. Bias voltage is exactly negative 35 volts, exactly where it wanted it to be. Very happy with this. Very, very pleased. Speaking of which, I'm just starting the next one. This one's for Pete. So I've just got to, what have I got to do? I've got to finish drilling the chassis, won't take long. Got the new transformers. New mains, new output, new choke. So we're going to be running the new transformer set in his ab, which I'm very, very pleased about. Our new UK winder, Demeter Windings, I haven't told you already. Doing some absolutely wonderful stuff. All custom to our spec. Could not be happier. So yeah, slightly different mounting pattern. So I had actually drilled Pete's chassis already, but the mounting on these transformers ever slightly different. So he's doing a new one. We'll get all this one done and fired up. I think the one that's on the bench and Pete's are both black combos, and then we're doing a white combo. Really cool. Or is it a white head? I need to look at the spreadsheet. Anyway, cracking on, making good progress. The last one. This is the last one. There it is. Right. Let's give it a haircut. Strangest thing you've ever seen, isn't it? Right. Hopefully that's it. Done. This is the next J20 in 4 rebuild. So for those that don't know, I offer a program where these are rebuilt basically from scratch. And the idea is to maintain the core tone, sound and playability of the J20 without any of the downsides. So no hum, no buzz, no pops, no crackles, no noisy fan, no overheating mains transformer, properly mounted output transformer, good quality pots that don't have the dead zone, massively improved grounding scheme, replacing the Forbin board, Forbin eyelet board, the ones that are known to warp and take on moisture and therefore become conductive. So we put a nice FR4 board with keystone eyelets in, high quality components, all the bits that maintain the original tone of the amp we keep. Anything that takes something away from the amp, we replace and upgrade and make 1,000,000 times better. So that's the plan. So this one is, I've got essentially, my job now is to completely gut the chassis out and give it a good thorough cleaning and start mounting things again. Yeah, I mean, you can see on this one, you can see the cooling fan and the bent connectors just mounted to the side there. So we're going to get rid of that. Here is the replacement transformer that I use. The ones that I have custom wound for me, M6 laminations. So, you know, it does run cooler. It's got the capability to run 6L6s, but also you still retain that lovely sag that these amps are known for. So yeah, not really much else to do on that. I'm not impressed with the way that's coming. It's got nylock nuts on it, but it's not particularly well. I mean, you can see it's bent. So we'll have to have a look at that. Hopefully it's not going to need to be replaced. These are actually quite nice output transformers, these units. They are from Mojatone, which I believe then are made to order by Hayboa. Although I don't quite recognise that one. We'll probably stick it on the test bench and measure its impedance, and then I'll be able to compare that to the other ones that I've done to see if there's been a change in spec over the years. This amp also has the reverb unit in the back of the cabinet. So we will be pulling that apart, optimizing its grounding, because it is quite a noisy, buzzy unit, so we need to make sure that that's good. But yeah, so I'm going to go ahead now and start stripping this thing down. Yeah. And then we can crack on with the rebuild for this very patient customer. This is Ollie's drip edge Vibrolux reverb, the one we had him recently. Well, he's had to bring it back because it's doing a similar thing from before, but it's not doing it in the same way, or at least the symptoms that I found inside are different. I want to show you something. So the amp is on, and I've got the CompuBias plugged in, and you can see there's voltage on the plates, no current running through them. The valves are all warmed up, so they're lit up, but you see we're getting this really weird flickering going on. really interesting. Now watch this. I've got my voltmeter connected up over here. And how do I not kill myself? That'll do. Do you see that? So if we measure on the anodes, there's no signal running through the amp, by the way. You can see we've got 400 and... But you see how it's popping around like that? Jumping around. Same on this side. Doing something weird. Kind of matches what the CompuBias readings were saying. But let me show you the screens. What? Jumping around like you wouldn't believe, and that's the same on both sides. Okay, so coming off the rectifier valve, feeding the output transformer, 460-ish volts, but again it's jumping around. On the other side, B+2, now it's changed. And look, CompuBias has come back alive again. What was that about? And now it's stable. Measure back on there, and we've got our voltage back. Now, when it was in that weird thing, it wasn't passing any signal. When it was in that fault condition. I'm glad I got that on camera. Can you see how quickly that changed? The minute I touched that. So now, we've got to try and replicate that. So let's do this the other way round. Let's connect my meter there permanently. I wish I could find my other crocodile clip. I need to order some more, but I'm too lazy. We'll connect that to ground. There's our screen voltage. Nice and stable. Pair of 6 L6s currently biased around 19 watts each side, about 45-46 milliamps running through them. It's about right. But something changed, and we just need to find it. So I might have to get the freeze spray out on this one. But I'm just going to go through, do the tap test, do the tug test. Tug test, if you don't know, is just where you, rather than tapping components, you're grabbing wires and you're just putting a little bit of tension on them in certain places. Just be really careful when you do it, obviously. See if you can find anything that changes. So I'm going to go through and do that. But I'm glad I caught that on camera. I thought I was going mad for a minute. When it was in its fault condition, it was pulling around 50 watts out of the wall. Now it's pulling 93. So that's another data point for us. But I'm just going to go through. I need to pull the doghouse off and check under there again. But I'm hoping it's not anything too serious. But we do need to get this sorted for him. Because obviously an amp that doesn't work cannot be used. Right, with the transformer, the output transformer pulled from the J20, I'm still doing the chassis strip down, but I thought now would be a good time to show you the way that I'm currently measuring the impedance of an output transformer. Many ways to do it, and this is arguably, if you're not careful, one of the more dangerous ways, but it does give very consistent results. The way I used to do it was I'd inject a 1 volt signal into the secondary and then measure the reflected voltage on the primary side. But I've been doing a lot of transformer testing in comparison lately, and I found actually this is a much quicker way to do it, in that I simply connect my 2 anode wires to mains voltage, and I measure the stepped down voltage on the secondary side. I've actually found I get more consistent results doing it this way. Now, the way I'm doing this now, if you're not careful, obviously you've got live mains voltage on these terminals here. You've got to be careful of where your wires are, and you keep your hands away from anything dangerous, I think what I'm going to do is build myself a very simple transformer tester where I plug mains in, got some ring post terminals, and I can connect things up and do it all completely hands-free. But for the time being, I just want to show you how this works and how the calculations work. So a transformer is exactly that. It transforms. It takes your input voltage and it either steps it up or it steps it down. Now with an output transformer, that's what we're doing. We are stepping down the high voltage on the primary side down to a secondary side. Okay, down to much lower. So for example, today's mains voltage, we'll measure it in a minute. Roughly 240 volts will be going in, and what comes out on this yellow wire here, black is common. There's no other taps on the secondary here, so it's probably an 8 ohm tap. It is an 8 ohm speaker in the amp, but I'll show you how we calculate all of that anyway. We're going to get, I would expect somewhere around 10 volts ish, might be more, might be less, but I'll show you how it all calculates. So I've got my mains in, I'm going through my light bulb limiter. There's going to be very little current running through this other than the energizing current, but I've got my light bulb in circuit just in case there's a short, just in case there's a problem. But if I turn my unit on, today's mains voltage coming out of the wall as measured using my unit is 241.2 volts AC. So that's what's going in here, and what's coming out is 7.6 volts AC. It's just dropped down to 7.58 because our mains has dropped to 240.4. So 240.4, 7.58. And we'll calculate both of those just to prove that it is consistent. So that's all the numbers I need. Mains off. And that's all I need. Right, let's go over to the other bench and do some sums. In fact, we'll do it up here. All disconnected now. So the first thing we need to know is the winding ratio, which is really easy. All we do is the big number divided by the little number. So 241.2 divided by 7.6. That puts us a winding ratio of 31.736. We'll go to 3 decimal places, and we do it for this one when the voltage drops slightly, divided by 7.58, 31.715. So we'll call it 31.7. Yeah? You understand that? Cool. Make sure you can see that. Now that would mean, so our winding ratio is 31.7 to 1. So if I did it the other way and I put 1 volt into my secondary, I would get 31.7 volts on the primary. Now the impedance ratio is the square of the turns ratio. So 31.7 times itself, we've got an impedance ratio of 1004.9. Yeah? Cool? You understand what that is? So that means if I put 1 ohm, a 1 ohm load on the secondary side, I'll get 1005 ohms on the primary. Now, obviously, we don't use 1 ohm speakers. The one in the amp is an 8 ohm speaker. So all I have to do, well, it's nice and simple. We can do it for 4, we can do it for 8, and we can do it for 16 ohms. 1004.9. Could probably round it up to 1005, to be honest. If I put a 4 ohm speaker, the valves will see 4,000 and 4,020 ohms. Okay. We put 8 ohms in, we get 8,039 ohms. Do you see how this is working? We put 16 in, we get 16,078 ohms. So this transformer, as expected, with an 8 ohm load going in, gives us 8 ohms on the secondary. So it's an 8K transformer. Exactly what we thought it would be, exactly what they have been in this amplifier in the past. So nothing has changed there. So the designer is choosing to run 6 L6s as an 8K load. And he's also choosing, because that amp is capable of running 6 V6s, also with an 8K load, which is the standard 5E3 impedance. The J20H, the larger model, runs a 6K6 transformer, so slightly lower impedance. So on this particular unit, we can write 8K, 8 ohms. Lovely. Right, we'll carry on with this then, get this thing stripped down, and we'll have a little chat whilst we're doing it. I was thinking the other day about Dumble amps. Do you remember a couple of years back at NAMM, the new owners of the Dumble trademark and brand had a big display there, and they were saying, oh, we're going to have new models coming out and we're going to carry on his legacy. Well, I just had a quick look on the website because I was thinking I haven't heard anything yet. No updates. Website hasn't been updated. And there's been literally radio silence. So what are they doing? I mean, we know it's to protect the trademarks and stuff, but we haven't heard anything else, have we? There's been no update on the new Dumble amps, whatever that is, whatever that means, who knows? There's been nothing whatsoever. I was just... If anyone knows, if anyone has actually heard anything that maybe I've missed, would you let me know? Because I can't find anything really. But there's clearly money involved, clearly a lot of money involved, but it's just, yeah, no update, no news. And you would have thought by now there would be something. God, they're on tight. You would have thought by now, no, you would all thought by now, sorry, that somebody would know something or said something, or there'd be an update, there'd be a news article or something, but I can't find anything. And it just seems a little odd to me. A little odd. So, yeah, there you go. Right, these knobs, they're glued on. What's going on? What? Blimey. Blimey. They're in tight. What's the next size? Is it that one? I have a feeling somebody's been in this before. No, that one's not coming out. We're going to have a rethink. That one doesn't fit properly. I'm running out of options here. It's bent my drill bit. Not my drill bit, it's bent my screw bit. Why is that in there so tight? Absolutely ridiculous. Stupid. We're going to end up breaking something if we're not careful. Maybe some heat. Maybe a little bit of heat will just free that up. Yes. Whew. Is there enough in that one? Yes. Right. We'll do this one as well then. Oh, you beauty. There we go. These are all coming out anyway. So we'll take them out as an assembly. Oh! What's he done that up with? There you go. Hasn't put Loctite on it, has he? No. Almost gave myself a hernia trying to undo that. Had to breathe in for that one. We're winning slowly. We are winning. Okay. Just a little tip for everyone. If you're going to use pots, use the pot as a grounding point. Don't use the black lock washers or tooth washers, because they generally have a couple of ohms resistance to ground. So you don't get... You see how both of these are grounding through the pot casing? Yeah, you'll get a poor ground if you use those. They're okay to use if you're using a different grounding system, but not direct to chassis through the pot. You learn that one the hard way, I'm afraid. Right, what's next? Let's get the inputs out, shall we? I don't know why these are all so tight. I mean, there's tight, there's the correct tightness, the correct torque, and then there's over tight. Right, and these, absolutely over tight. So he's used those ones on there. Get those off. What I need to do, just before I forget, is the normal channel and the bright channel have different size input caps. So I'll just write bright on that one. And then when I come to double check later, I don't get confused as to which is which. Because the value of those has changed on all the different ones I've seen. I've done that again. So it's always worth just double checking, so we get it right. Because, as I said, it's important that the tone and the sound of the amp remains the same when we do this. Just we get rid of all the nasty bits. Okay, so front panel nearly done. Let's get the on-off switch out. Use a nice chunky washer on the outside then. Quite like that. The correct one is a tiny little shim washer. That's possibly oversized, but he's trying to protect the chrome plating there, so you can forgive him. Fuse holder. Lovely. You see the new Gibson guitars and the Epiphone signatures for Oasis? There's a Gibson's standard version of the Noel Gallagher reunion guitar, the P90 Les Paul. They've done a non-custom shop one, I think. Then there's the Epiphone Bonehead Riviera, which in Tobacco Burst, I have to admit, does look great. I think it's the one he used all the way back originally, a version of that. Although his one I think was a Japanese one. Again, correct me if I'm wrong. Let's do these back panel components then. Oh, I was going to say, on this one, they are real Beltons in this one. So I'm not sure what was going on with the other amp, but on this amp, they are real Beltons. And then the other one was the Gem Archer Sheraton with the mini humbuckers, which in cherry, I think it's £2,000. I think looks really good. USA made Epiphone. I think it looks really smart. Although I always associated Gem Archer with the non-reverse Firebirds, so I wonder what happened to those, because he had a few of them. I think some of them were Knowles, but he had that red one with the uncovered paths in, which I assume were PAFs. There might be T-tops. I haven't seen that guitar for a while. I wonder what he's done with it. Wonder if he's still got it. Right, so let's get that out of the way. They're all connected to this, and I want to make sure I retain that. So, yeah, but I think it looks great. I think it looks really smart. Yeah, really, really cool indeed. Right, okay, so I have got most of that off now. Strip all these out. Then what I can do is do my board mount, mount the transformers. I'm going to reuse the old output transformer. We've measured that now. It looks good. Tests fine. I need to completely strip down these sockets, rewire them properly, and we'll go from there. But yeah, not far off. Well, not far off. Not far off being stripped down on this. Whilst we've got easy access. So what other news have we seen in the industry? Not much really. It's not quite the right time of year. NAMM's not until... Is NAMM January or February? I never can remember. So we're not going to see much until then, are we? In terms of news. The UK Guitar Show is it first weekend in March? I'm not doing it. Or at least I haven't signed up yet. So unless something changes... But I have no need to do it next year. Although maybe I will. I don't know. I haven't decided yet. I haven't decided if I'm doing that. I suppose the best thing to do is give Jason a call and get a quote for a stand. The problem is that it's my birthday the week before the show. And we always go away on family holiday. And we are going away on family holiday again. So it kind of ruins the preparation that I need to do. So I have to do all the prep weeks in advance, and it makes it really tricky because everyone else is doing their prep as well. And so if I can't get anything, it ruins stuff. It makes it more tricky. So perhaps I just don't celebrate my birthday next year. Ah! Also, can confirm that this is leaded solder, which, as we know, cannot be used in the UK and the EU on new production stuff. That's the heaters out. I'm always amazed, actually, about how quickly you could strip an amp back down to its basically nothing. Yet building takes so much longer. But we're getting there. We're going to do it properly, and the customer is going to love this when it's done. Let's get those grid stoppers out. And then I'm going to remove all the solder, old solder, from these pins. Good tidy up. I wonder if these sockets are going to need replacing. I haven't decided yet. If they're okay, they can stay. They'll go again. If not, we'll stick new ones in. Output valve sockets probably need retensioning. We'll have a look. Rectifier socket. Not sure yet. Quite an enjoyable way to spend your Friday afternoon. Stripping down an amplifier. Right, so we're nearly done. We're nearly there. The only thing I need to do is undo this. See, how can some things in this amp be so tight and other things are almost, well, they're only finger tight. You know, not done up properly at all. I just don't get it. Enough moaning. That's that stripped down. Probably leave those sockets in place just while they don't need to come out. And then I can start marking up bits and pieces. We'll work out where we want that to sit. Something like that. I need to have a quick think also, before I forget, about that reverb unit. I'm not going to do it in this video. But I just need to have a think about, is there a better way for me to connect it back into the chassis compared to where Jesse had done it. I doubt there is. It's a very simple circuit, but he powers it off of V or B+2, the high voltage. I just wonder if we can reconfigure it so it runs off B+3 and we give it an extra level of filtering. Again, I need to open the unit up. See if we can remove some of that 100 Hertz hum that we heard. Right, anyway, job done. Right, back to Ollie's amp. I have given it a full heat cycle, so it's fully cooled down now, and I've also had my discharge cable on, fully discharging the amplifier. So there's nothing in here now which should cause any problems. So hopefully when we fire it up now, we're going to get our low B+ voltage on our screen, on B+2, on our screen supply. Measuring here, this is currently saying 0.211 millivolts. So hopefully you can all see that on the screen, on the display. Let's go. So B+ is ramping up. 1 volt, 10 volts, 100 volts, 390 volts. Damn. And the CompuBias has come alive to tell us that things are working. Damn. Okay. So our fault has not yet returned. And it seems no matter what I do, I cannot get this thing to play up again. So not the ending to the video we wanted. We're really hoping that we get this thing to play up again and we can try and diagnose it, but no. She's working. I guess we leave it over the full weekend. Actually, I am in Saturday. So maybe I'll try it tomorrow, leave it overnight, come in and try again. But it's certainly not playing up, which makes this thing incredibly difficult to diagnose. Actually, do you know what? I wonder if it's not a cold thing. Maybe it's a heat thing. Even though it was in its faulty condition before, when we fired it up cold, I wonder if it fails and then it stays in that condition until you change something else. So what we'll do is we'll get the heat gun on it. Can you see? Can you still see the voltage on the thing? 409 volts at the moment. I'm just going to get the heat gun on the board, on some wires, bits and pieces, and we're just going to watch and see if anything changes. I'm going to measure wattage coming out the wall. Do you remember? So we're currently drawing 90 watts, which is about right, 89.9. It was around 52, I think, in its fault condition. So let's just do some warming up. No, no change. Nothing to report. Everything's stable. So it's not a heat thing. I don't know. At this moment in time, I don't know. That test was inconclusive. Slight fluctuation in voltage, but mains voltage is fluctuating too. No clues to give us the diagnostic direction. What I really need, I need this thing to be back into its fault condition. That way, I could start taking measurements and things. But do you remember when it first happened, the minute I measured on that point on the board, it kicked back in and it was fine. Very bizarre, very interesting. And what I don't want to do is start doing shotgun stuff, because that often can confuse your own diagnosis. We're talking about this in the other video, right? So, gonna have to leave it there, I think. Not happy. Well, that's it then, guys. Thank you very much for watching once again. As always, please give this video a thumbs up. Comments and questions down below. Subscribe and hit the notification bell if you haven't already. If you're feeling super generous, why not buy one of our awesome t-shirts or join the channel like these guys have. And I will catch you all at the next one.